feel this way. This is an anthem for my people.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another WTU podcast, Two Voices. I'm Miles, that's Adam. And we're going to talk your ear off a little bit this week. I hope that's okay. Last week, we talked about serious things. This week, we're going to do that. And much, much, much more.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about Florida, even though I don't really like to cross the border of Florida that much. Adam enjoys Florida for some reason.
I love Florida.
We're going to talk about music. We're going to talk about poetry. We're going to talk about daily news. We're going to talk about installing sinks. That and much, much more on the WTU podcast. Adam, how you doing?
Doing good. How are you doing?
I'd be doing better if I didn't just put a sink in your house.
Yeah. So start off the bat here. We just got done installing a new faucet for my sink.
I didn't think it was going to be we. It became we.
It was us.
It was you.
So appreciate your help there.
Let's get this straight. I come over hoping to head back to school for a class that I'm paying $1,400 for this summer, where I have deadlines and such. And I'm like, we should crank out a podcast before I go back to school. So it's like, sweet. So Adam's like, good idea, dude. Great idea. So I come over and Adam is halfway under his sink and says, can you hold this? And I knew right then and there that we were
a match.
We were we were a match. We were in for a long day with delayed podcasting. So anyway,
yeah, it's my fault.
I held the sun roll, which is holding a flashlight and unscrewing one thing the entire time. And Adam told me he was proud of me at the end. So that's all there is to
Couldn't
it,
have done
really.
it without you.
So your sink works now.
Sink works.
I learned what an aerator is.
Yep.
It's the thing on the end.
Yep.
Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like a stronger man after doing that. I don't know.
That's good. It's good that you feel stronger.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want you to feel weaker
No,
after doing that.
Yeah. Well, I usually do. But anyway. Yeah. So this podcast is being recorded later than I wanted it to. So I'm sorry. I would have had this out sooner, but it's Adam Sink's fault. So, Adam, anything I should know from this past week that we haven't already talked about?
Updates.
Not like I see you every day.
We really don't see each other every day. It might
I saw
feel
your
like
dogs
it.
today. It made me feel amazing.
Yep.
I like your one dog better than the other one. It's fine. Why? Why are you upset right now?
No updates. No updates from here. What about you?
Are you going to dispute me on the fact that Zara is a better dog than Milo?
Okay, so
Dispute that.
I'm not it's not even worth arguing about. Milo's a good boy. Zara's a good girl. So that's all that matters.
Zara is a better girl than Milo is a good boy. Milo, literally, I turned the corner today after finishing putting a sink in his house, and he friggin' it wasn't even a growl. It was like a grizzly bear roar at me. Why do you do that?
What?
I want to talk to him later.
Okay.
Anyway, so Adam and I figured, we're trying to stay current. We're trying to stay up to date on the latest news. And what better way to do that than to participate in the Florida Man Arrest Challenge, which is, if you're not familiar, when you type into Google Florida Man and then your birthday and see what comes up.
Yep.
You want to go first?
I will go first,
Okay.
being the elder
Okay.
of us two. Let
All
me
right.
pull it up here.
All right.
Okay. All right. So this is a great article. So
Can you read it in your newscaster voice, please?
Yeah.
Like thoughts for your thoughts. This is thoughts for your thoughts.
Today on the Pensacola News Journal, deputy cleared for shooting naked man armed with crossbow who claimed aliens were after him.
Could you give me some background on that story?
Yeah, so some background. It sounds like the Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office were cleared after shooting this man who was holding a crossbow.
Well, starkly undressed.
Yeah.
In the nude, some would say.
So there was a male under the influence of narcotics and threatened to shoot himself with his crossbow because aliens were after him.
Florida.
So that was my Florida man challenge.
Y'all are wilding out, Florida.
People are people.
What are you doing, Florida?
There's people
Stop
everywhere.
defending Florida, man. What are you doing that for? Why are you going there?
Tag him in the hate comments.
not Adam. Don't at Adam.
All right, Miles, what was your crazy Florida man challenge?
Man, this is rough, man. Florida, excuse me. Florida man, 88, burns raccoon over eating his mangoes. Posted August 18th, 2018 by Associated Press. Okay.
So, some background.
Palm Bay, Florida.
Okay.
An 88-year-old Florida man was arrested after police said he burned a trapped raccoon alive because the animal had eaten his mangoes. Now, I don't know about you, but I mean, I don't get happy when people eat my mangoes.
You know, mangoes are a vital part of
I'm not
society.
Pleased after that. But I'm not willing to burn life for it. You know what I'm saying? Ezra James told WKMG TV in a story Saturday that he threw gasoline on the raccoon and lit a match. In addition to the mangoes, James says he was afraid the raccoon might give him rabies. James lives in the coastal town of Palm Bay, located about 75 miles, 120 kilometers southeast of Orlando. A neighbor called 911 as the raccoon burned alive in a metal trap. James says the police officers shot the raccoon to ease its suffering. He was released on $2,000 bail from jail for animal cruelty resulting in death charges.
Wow.
Florida.
Wake
up, man. What are you doing?
It's crazy.
You got a lot of lizards in Florida. That's why I don't like it.
Yeah.
I'll be real with you. I went there when I was 12, and we went to a restaurant that served, like, just normal food. And, who's calling? You want to freaking stop it from buzzing, or are you just going to let it buzz through my story? Okay, point taken. So anyway, we're in a restaurant, I'm like 12, and I look back in the kitchen, they just have a giant iguana. Just sitting on the oven back there. Yeah. Like, just letting it hang out like it was their pet. And I've been afraid of Florida ever since then. Seriously.
That's great.
And the other time I went to Florida, I got a stomach bug and couldn't eat anything while I was there. So you tell me what's the problem, me or Florida?
I think it's you.
I don't know about that. But anyway, Florida, check yourself, man.
Yeah.
If you live in Florida, you might want to consider moving.
No, stop.
Move to Georgia, maybe?
Well, this podcast took a turn.
Maybe consider leaving. I don't know how you feel. Maybe we can redeem this podcast with some art we love.
Yeah, so it was it's kind of what we talked about last time, and we wanted to kind of bring some funniness, so that's why we did the Florida News Challenge. And now to return.
Now we want to get sad.
No, now we want to get serious and back to what makes this podcast.
Now we want to talk about poetry and feelings.
Yeah. So, do you want to go first or
no? Yeah, probably.
Okay, you go ahead.
Probably because yours is like the Big Bang Theory closer.
Go ahead, go for it. So, what kind of art inspired or influenced you this week?
I'll tell you about two things. I'm going to tell you one about another podcast by Malcolm Gladwell, who is the author of many, many books. I'm reading one of his books called Tipping Point. Talked about it last week. He has a podcast called Revisionist History, where he basically talks about anything that he wants to in story format and does he writes for the New Yorker, so he does like a journalist type of reporting on it and then does a podcast about it.
Gotcha.
Dives really deep and goes interviews everyone. Basically, this week he talked about chess. And I know that sounds extremely boring, but he talked about chess and how there are a couple different types of ways to play chess. And like the classic like tournament style type of chess is the long game where you get 90 minutes in the beginning and 30 minutes at the end for like the quick round where you see people like hitting the timer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
So that's like classical chess, like a 120-minute game. But then there's blitz. There's like I think it's called blitz chess, where the entire game is 30 minutes and you play like at a rapid pace the whole time instead of having that 90-minute thing where you like make calculated moves.
Yep.
And he was talking about how there's in classical chess there's a dude who is like the best in the world because, well, like he just first of all started out by saying like interviewing him and talking about that, how he's the best classical chess player in the world. But then there's a completely separate guy who's the best blitz chess player in the world. And he used that as a metaphor for some people are geniuses, but it takes them longer to create their masterpiece.
Yeah.
And like not everybody like can produce art or create things, anything, or do good work at a rapid pace. And he was talking about like standardized tests too, and like how some people are really smart but they can't focus fast enough or like process things fast enough to get the right answer. Even though they know the right answers, they don't get to them in time. So like he was talking about how he's from Canada, and so they don't do the same type of testing. They don't have like standardized like time tests like we do. And so he was talking about how he thought it was so weird that you could know everything and not have the time to do it, and then you get a bad score, and it seems like you don't know what you're talking about. But
Right.
so he basically, like, the theme of the episode was basically it takes some people a longer time to create their masterpiece and like to be as great as they are.
So not to interrupt you, but I definitely feel like that. Like when we started out with this music journey, you know, I don't think it was as crafted as it is now. And you know, when we started with the beginning EP, and I think that's probably true with any band, or any form of art, like you know, but I can definitely agree with that. I can definitely see that.
Yeah.
With us, and not just us, but you know, other groups that you're saying, you can see.
I mean, yeah, you can go back through to a lot of people who create. I don't really know necessarily how to do this for people who are in business or something like that, but it's easier to see with people who create things you can feel and see.
Yeah. Like
artists, you'll just see some of their work from their teen years or whatever, their early career, and it's just like, what? This is nothing.
Yeah.
This is horrible. Or like you listen back to, I don't know, like early Switchfoot.
Yep, like Chem 6A.
And you're just like, what? Like this isn't even mixed right. It's really like, you can tell that the potential is there.
Yeah.
It's just not formulated at all. Like they have no idea what they're trying to say yet. You know?
Yeah.
And like there's those moments.
Yeah. Especially like with their vision and where they're at now.
Yeah.
It's completely different. I think it's on a whole nother end of the spectrum.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, I don't know. It's just cool. It was comforting that he did that, because he was talking about how he is like he's like the slow type of, he was comparing it to the tortoise and the hare, like childhood story.
Yeah.
About how in the story, the tortoise always wins because he's slow and steady. But in life, a lot of times we reward the hare, the quick one. And he was like, why do we do that? Like it might take 10 years, 20 years, 30 years for you to create your masterpiece. But when you're done, it may be more beautiful than something someone made in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, so it's just, I don't know. It's funny how in life, like in certain spaces, quickness is rewarded, and in certain spaces, like taking a long time on something is rewarded, and how that affects performance in certain fields and stuff. So, I mean, there's certain times when quickness is vital. Like, I guess like being a doctor or something, when you're playing with time. But like I feel like when you're creating art, time is important. Like you need to meet deadlines, but like it shouldn't be the factor that's driving you. Like it shouldn't be causing you to fear and just put stuff out that you don't believe in.
Right. No, yeah.
So So that's basically like the theme of the episode. I just thought it was really cool. How he's a genius in his own right. He's a novelist and a reporter and some kind of prize winner, I'm sure. Has a really successful podcast. And he is a slow worker and takes his time to do stuff. Whereas some people start out right from the gate just being virtuosos. Like it just depends on how your brain works. So, it was encouraging to me because we definitely started slow, just not knowing.
And I mean,
like what we were doing at all.
To like other people as well, like we're still slow, but
oh yeah, compared
from where we were and like what we're doing now,
yeah,
I think we've seen a whole lot of improvement and success, and the art that we make now has a certain vision. I think so.
I would rather slowly, like take the arc that we're taking now, than put out stuff we don't like.
Yep.
I was listening to something in the car that we were working on, a rough mix of it, and my dad was giving me some notes and stuff earlier today, and he was talking about the same stuff that I was wanting to change with it, and I'm just so happy that we didn't wrap that 4-hour session and say good enough. I'm really happy. I'm gonna go back and like perfect it, because then when we put it out, I'll be happy.
Yeah,
and it'll be something I want people to hear instead of having to skip certain parts and like, oh, that's not right. But yeah. And then second piece of art I'm enjoying is the album A Living Mirage by The Head and the Heart. It's a new album. Came out in March, I think, but I just got into it.
I'm gonna have to listen to it.
Yes,
I knew they came out with a new album.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
It's like everything you want from The Head and the Heart, like folk wise, but they like tuned up, like they toned it up for a couple of songs and got like a little heavier, like on Honeybee. There's a song called Honeybee. They put some 808s, like kind of what we did in that last song, and it just like amps it up. It's so good. The melodies are so good, and then you get those classic like Head and the Heart harmonies that you love. I don't know who that girl is in there. I don't know if she's like married to one of them or something.
I'm not sure.
Or if she's just like in the band, but like
either way,
so
like
good.
they've perfected like their harmonies and
their sound is just their sound.
Yeah.
Like it's just so good.
Completely
and it's not exactly like the last album to where it's like, ugh.
Yeah.
Like this is just this album again. It's like that. It's like the sound of the last album, and they like keep reinventing themselves, and it's just like so cool.
Yeah.
So
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Good deal.
Yeah. So
anything else? I mean, you want to add to that? I feel like you'll be able to carry off for what I'm gonna say. So
yeah, I don't think I have anything else. I think that's it for me.
Glad that you got it out. It's better out than in.
Is that what they say?
I think so. I don't know.
Okay.
So I'm this is gonna be another John Foreman week for me. I'm sorry.
Him.
I literally everything he says is just amazing. There's a poem, not necessarily a poem, but there's a quote that I have here that he said, and I'm gonna read this, and then we're gonna look over it. So this quote says, "There's a certain amount of humility that is attached to wonder, and a certain amount of pride attached to knowledge. And I think the moment you say the phrase, 'We know beyond a shadow of a doubt that something exists,' then you can't have faith that it exists. You can't have faith. Faith is no longer possible in that aspect. So faith is only possible when doubt is possible, and faith is only possible when humility and wonder is possible." And it says, and I feel like in the musical world of humility and wonder, it has such a wider door to enter than the narrow confines of epistemology and things like knowledge in these really narrow boxes. And he goes on to talk about, John Foreman talks about, that's kind of where it's like Switchfoot's songs are, that where their songs are in the world and where their songs are trying to explore. It's what they're writing about. So, yeah. So
I mean, you want to talk about how that applies to like you and us, I guess. Like, how do you want to approach that? It's such a good quote.
I know it's such a huge quote, and
it's so good.
It's packed.
You can break it down if you want.
Yeah. So to kind of feed off on which section we should kind of start discussing first. I would say where it talks about faith, and then so specifically where he talks about that when someone says the words, "We know beyond a shadow of a doubt this exists,"
Mm-hmm.
then you don't have faith. Like
Right.
there's no faith in that because you can't have faith that it exists.
That's
It's
crazy.
very big.
That changed my perspective of faith for sure this
Yeah.
morning. Like because a lot of the religious experience that we've had has been based on not everyone, but sometimes older people or people who are more set in their ways, at least, telling us exactly how things were. Or like, like, especially I found it like in the more established religious setting. It's like people are so sure that this is the way it is and that things are the way they are.
And I think another thing too, like you never see their doubt, because they don't
talk
openly,
about it.
they're not open about that.
Yeah.
Like, do they have it?
I feel like that's a generational thing too. Like, well, maybe, I don't know, but it's almost like for them in that setting, church is not a place to discuss doubts. Church is a place to like look like you have it all together. And so I think that like that's definitely a problem.
I agree.
Because if you can't be honest about doubting the thing that you're there to talk about and worship, like, then what are you doing? You know what I mean? I don't know how you feel about that, but
no, I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
I feel that, like, especially in today's like modern church, like I would think even in past generations too, that there it's almost like raising your white flag up to defeat because you don't want to look bad.
Yeah.
But in all honesty, like I full-heartedly believe those people who are strong like that, there's always doubt. I think.
Me too. I mean,
so
maybe not doubt.
Maybe
on
not
the
the
level of
us
or somebody newer, or
Yeah.
younger, but like definitely still doubt. Like, I don't think, for example, my mother doubts that God exists anymore, but does she doubt his goodness or his power to heal or his power to take care of things? Yeah, probably all the time. And she's even been through some crazy stuff and that he has taken her through.
Yep.
And like still she probably still has crazy doubts. Because I think that's a human thing to doubt. To doubt stuff we can't see. I mean, that's just a reaction to being in the dark about something.
Yep.
And I think one reaction to doubt is fear. Like, kind of like the author I talked about last week, like not knowing. He's like has a scientific mind, so the fact that he can't see what we're made out of and he can't see what this world is turning because of, like, and he can't see it all working. Some of it's invisible. It's freaking him out. Like, it freaks him out.
Yep.
I think that's one reaction. And I think another reaction is to have faith, like, and to, I don't know.
No, that makes sense.
You know what I mean? Like to trust that there's something that's making it happen. And that's different for different people, but I mean, yeah, it just blew my mind that to say that something is there 100% means you have no faith. Because if you knew it 100%,
you didn't have to have faith.
You don't have to have faith. It just blows my mind. I never thought about it like that. Like, until this morning when you read me that, so.
Then to add back into that, so repeating what I said, faith is only possible when there's doubt. So when doubt's possible, faith is possible. And then faith is also only possible when humility and wonder is possible.
This man,
John Foreman.
this man is a genius. I don't know how he got like that, but yeah. I mean, what do you?
Then only at that point, like when you have that humility and that wonder, can a certain door open. That door of like faith, like
Yeah.
to, to have that faith in that given thing
Yeah.
can open. So,
Yeah. Like accepting that you don't know everything
yeah.
is like the first step almost.
Yeah.
That's just so cool.
Yeah. Because I mean, I'm sure there's people who want to say that they know this and that, but I will be the first person to tell you that when I don't know something, like,
Yeah.
that's part of my authenticity.
Yeah.
So-
I'm not like that. Like I'm definitely like the type of person that will be like, "Do you see that movie?" And I'll be like, without even seeing it, I'll be like, "Oh yeah," like totally, or like, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Just like that person who's just like trying to act
Fit-
like they have it all together for the
Yeah.
sake of looking good. Like I
Yep.
totally do that, and like I don't admit that I like have doubts and don't know things, like, and that might just be a personality difference or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just an interesting approach, I guess. But what do you think? How do you think that humility and wonder like plays into creating art? Like specifically like wonder, I think is the big part.
I think like, well, I think it comes down the road of like not only authenticity, but like when you have that wonder and you
Mhm.
can sing about that wonder
Mhm.
to anyone,
Mhm.
that these people that you're singing to, if you know who you're singing to at
Mhm.
least, you're gonna know that they're gonna have that wonder too. Because
Mhm.
first off, we're all humans. We're gonna have this certain wonder.
Yeah. Cuz nobody really knows.
No one has it.
Yeah.
I mean, so I think when you're creating art, when you have that wonder in your art, you're going to be able to connect. I think it's ultimately
Mhm.
like off our last single anthem,
Mhm.
that there's wonder in that song. There's
I-
wonder in this new one coming out.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So ultimately, when you push that authenticity into your art,
Yeah.
and that wonder and that humility into that art, it's ultimately, in my opinion, it's beautiful.
Yeah. I agree. Like I was for Anthem like in a place of like extreme doubt.
Mm.
And
See, doubt.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like what I'm saying, like doubt almost brings you closer, like because you're questioning yourself. Like
Yeah.
you're in that frame of mind at least.
And especially like when you're questioning yourself and you're at a certain low point, like
Mhm.
you get to the point you're like, what do I have left?
Yeah.
And
And
that
there's a line in there about like your prayers hitting the ceiling. Like and I was literally feeling like that. Like I just felt like I was talking to a ceiling. Like I felt so stupid. And that was like a low point of doubt for
Yep.
me for sure. But like that definitely brought on that sense of like wonder and like wondering what the heck like is going on in this world. Like who I'm so small. Like it brought me out of this like task oriented day to day thing and made me think about wow, like life is so short. A lot of people are struggling. Like and I'm just a part of it. And but in my own way I'm like individual and beautiful and like my own world inside a world, and then I live inside this huge world. And I don't know, that song was like really important for me. I wrote it in like 20 minutes because it was just like I was just like crying. I was crying at my piano at my house because that was like such a low point.
yeah.
But out of that low point came beauty.
Yeah.
I think that happens a lot.
I agree, because like I said, back at that low point, you realize that what's left, and then that's when the wonder kicks in.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I don't know. I think there's something to be said for challenging people who just think they know everything. Like I when you I'm just always wary of someone who says that they know something for sure.
Yeah.
because there's not a lot of things that are for sure. Propaganda, like in his
The rapper
propaganda,
Yep.
not German propaganda art from World War II. Propaganda, the rapper and spoken word artist, he has a song. He's like, I know enough to know that I don't know that much.
Yeah.
And the next line is like, I know. Oh, you know what it is? The whole first song of his album is called like I Know or something like that. Like welcome to this album or whatever. It's like an intro song.
Mm-hmm.
And he just lists all the things that he knows for sure. And it's like not that much. And then like it's basically about how he looks to God and like the people around him and leans on them for the stuff he doesn't know.
Yeah.
And like I thought that was so cool. But he said, I know Chile Quiles and In-N-Out will be served in heaven. I know that I like my wife, my daughter, and mangoes. What's up with the mangoes today?
I don't know.
Anyway, he like the things we know for sure are so futile,
Yeah.
and the things we wonder about are so important. Things we'll never
So
know.
like not only important, but so big.
Yeah,
Like
huge.
there's so much
Yeah.
that we wonder about.
Mm.
You know.
I have to fight like sometimes just going off in the like kind of like the rabbit trail mind thing where it's like, what if the world was like created when like I don't know, like Bugs Bunny set off a TNT explosion and it's like I like just like any like when I just go crazy.
Yeah.
I think that's like I don't know if that's like an OCD thing or like an ADD thing or something. Like I just like when I just get so lost in my own head
Yeah.
that
Yep.
it becomes like kind of scary.
Yep.
And
Oh, I mean, like going back to like kind of what we talked about last week.
yeah,
Like when your mind has that chance to run.
yeah, it's crazy.
It gets very,
Yeah.
you know, it gets very like your anxiety can spike, and
yeah.
no, I completely get that.
Yeah. So anyway, I think just accepting the fact that I don't know brings me back to like a centered place. It's like, well, I'll never know until it's all over.
Yeah.
I'll never know if any of this stuff that I can't see is real or not real.
Yep.
But I think right now I'm choosing to take a more optimistic view and say, which is different from even a couple months ago. But it's like, all right, what do I have to lose if I just let myself have faith in this for this moment in time?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're not losing anything.
No.
It's not hurting you to have faith in other people and
Nope.
faith in love and faith in there being an order to the world and
A better tomorrow. Yeah.
yeah. There's nothing to lose from that, so you
No.
might as well.
Literally nothing to lose. The only thing that you could see out of that is just benefits.
Yeah, exactly. So we done?
I think
That
we're
it?
good. I think we're good.
Fiend. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
We started
Thank
in
you.
Florida with mangoes and we ended with mangoes.
Yeah, with propaganda.
Thank you guys for listening to us ramble, rabble, scrabble,
Rap,
rabble,
rabble.
dabble, travel. I'm done. I'm
Thanks,
great.
everyone.
Keep surfing.
Keep surfing.
Check out our website,
WTU.
WTU Music. Check
Dot.
out our new song soon.
Soon.
Check out Anthem. That's our newest song
Yeah, our newest song from
October of last
October.
year.
Yep, it's a good song.
This episode is sponsored by not having
A sponsor.
a sponsor.
Yeah.
We use all of our own money and we are running out rapidly. So if you would like to sponsor this podcast, please
Contact us
contact
at our
us.
website,
Yeah.
WTUmusic.com. So
yeah, new single out soon. Podcast, hopefully like close to every week.
Yeah.
My schedule is crazy, but
pay attention to our blogs too. We're always writing blogs.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
follow us on our social media.
WTU
Facebook,
Music.
Instagram are our main two. So
And turn this podcast off now.
yeah, because
Keep surfing.
Keep surfing the waves.
Love you guys.
Not the only one to feel this way. This is an anthem for my people. cannot sleep at night.